Okay, so we just got done doing the oil change on the Kioti DK6010SE, and we're just checking for leaks and stuff. I lay a bunch of cardboard down, and it took 6.8 quarts. So the Kioti dealer actually sold me two 1-gallon containers. It was a really reasonable price. I think I spent in total, it was like $94.71, and that was for the 50-hour service. I still have to do this one here, which is the engine oil, or the this is the hydraulic filter, of course. Okay, so if you can read South Korean language. So you just get it tight, and then you go 1/2 a turn to 3/4 max. I use this on the engine oil filter. It's the same dimensions on the base, and I'm keeping my old one just in case I need to try to match it locally. But you can see there's the part number information, and we use this 15W40. It's an SAE rating, and we got like I said, it was 6.8 quarts needed, and so I took and marked. See, I got the spout from a DEF bottle, and it worked awesome. So I marked, you know, full, half, and then 0.3 is what I need left. I gotta check the oil still. So I went through a full gallon of this, and then I went through 0.7 of this bottle, so that left a little bit extra beyond what I expected. So I gotta check the oil. I might need to top it off a little bit. But this spout works super good because you can get it into the weird spot. So the only tools I used was this crescent wrench I'll show you on the oil cover. And then I use a 17 millimeter in a regular run-of-the-mill Craftsman. And that was super easy. It's actually a pretty shallow bolt that you take out on the bottom. It's right, there's two of them because the oil pan is split in two. You can see there's two right there. You got to take both of those out. You just break them free, and they're threaded a million threads like normal. And this had plenty of capacity, but I was putting it into 1-gallon jugs to be used to treat our bridge. So I just was putting them into these things, and then just transferred them. But as you can see, it was real easy to get to the oil filter. Right here, and then the weird part was the fill point was right here. Okay, so that's the thing I was trying to figure out. Now this looks shiny, but that's not spilled oil. That's just they've got a coating they put on this, probably to keep it from corroding, I guess, or oxidizing over time. I don't know. But this is nice and dry. We don't have any oil leaks. So be careful of the fan, obviously. And then this is your dipstick for checking the oil, so I'll check that here in a second. But pretty straightforward thing, but on the 50-hour for this machine, you're supposed to do the oil filter and oil, which is 6.8 quarts, and the filter, as well as the hydraulic oil filter, which is next. So that should be pretty straightforward, but just the filter on that. You don't have to replace all the hydraulic fluid, which would be pretty expensive. That filter is actually the most expensive part of this, and it's probably the most BS too. $32. I take it back. It was $38.10 for the 2 gallons of this synthetic filter, or synthetic oil, which I thought was a great deal. So anyway, the Kioti dealer took care of me. That was the dealer I'm going with in Atlantic that sold me this, which is Olson's Outdoor Power in Atlantic, and they also have a location in Carroll, Iowa. So that's a couple hours away from me. I was very concerned about that when I first bought this tractor, but they've been real helpful. A couple of times I had a really small like coolant leak because I think the cap popped off while I was clearing snow, and I don't know if it was just aggressively splashing around and it came out a little bit, and I noticed some on the ground, and so I immediately went to work just verifying it wasn't actually leaking. And you can see it's at the low versus the full. And I asked the guy and he said, just leave it, you're totally fine, don't mess with it. So I wanted to top it off into the middle, but he said don't. So I didn't. And as you can see, I've got this thing up in the air. I've got it braced on a, this would not stop that from falling, but at least it'll give me a second to get out of the way. And then I've got this here also for safety. Typically you want to bite that so that it doesn't have any room to accelerate. And that's probably what I'm going to do before I do the hydraulics. But the 50-hour service on this machine, only because I'm such a clean freak, is probably going to take me the better part of the evening. But so far pretty easy, pretty straightforward stuff. Love the tractor, haven't had any problems except for, you know, self-inflicted stuff. We put fluid in the tires, 950 pounds roughly in all 4 tires. And then we have our ballast box up to about 850 pounds. It doesn't look it because there's not just, there's a bunch of dead load cells, because I work on industrial scales. So we had one big job where they caught a bunch of them on fire. So I was able to get a bunch of steel for the ballast on that. But we just love the way that this tractor's worked out. And as you can see, that arm's all the way up almost. And it's everything we can do. You could pretty much go all the way to the ceiling. And without a load backrest on your forks, you could put stuff way up on a top shelf up here, which is really cool. So I think that our ceilings are about 12 feet, maybe 13 feet, something like that in here. And this will go up to 107 inches to the pin, I believe. And 2,800 pounds of lifting capacity. This thing is awesome. Very comfortable inside. It's got a stereo in there, heat, air conditioning, recirculate. That's a big thing that we didn't have on the competitive brand. The recirculate was a big thing for me because we do hay out here. So, and it looks nice. This is just, I thought it was LEDs or backlit or something. It is backlit, but it's just plastic. So it's a little bit simple, but honestly, I don't care. I just don't want stuff to break. I don't sit around looking at the display, but just look how clean everything is. It's been a great tractor. I mean, granted, it's got 50 hours on it. I haven't ever even plugged in the engine block heater. I have gone through at least one regen cycle, which is weird when it first happens. And if you're wondering what the protocol is, just look back here. It'll tell you exactly what it looks like. Okay? So if you don't know what the protocol is, just pause the screen and read that. And then we added controls for our hay baler, which we'll be using in a few months or a week or a few weeks or a month to harvest our hay. The first time, well, I mean, we're gonna have to cut it first and then bale it up. But guys, we love this tractor. This thing's gonna be so much better when we're doing hay. The 1025R was awesome. Oh yeah, and of course I added some lights and then a fire extinguisher for safety, especially with hay. I'm a little bit concerned about the windows. If we're gonna have any issues with the drum cutter that we use, it could potentially fling rocks, so I may have to get a little bit creative and come up with something there. So this is the other big huge thing on this tractor, is being able to run this up is just awesome, because you can do all that from outside. And I'm just being a little bit mindful I don't take out my shelf or something, but it is so nice to be able to do this all from outside. And yes, that is a mechanical linkage to the inside, so it's just the exact same control. It's not some crazy like hydraulic, pneumatic, electrical, hydraulic, you know, computerized control. It's just a linkage, so it's very simple. If something breaks, you can fix it yourself with a piece of baling wire, for goodness sake. And then the other big huge reason we ended up with this is because of these things are awesome. You can telescope, and you won't believe how much that saves on time and trouble. And I hardly ever change implements as it is. And then of course, very, very simple, very easy to use. Sway bars or any sway bars. I have my tow bar pulled out just because it's humongous. And then they have this beautiful cap on there. I mean, it's just a great tractor. We've loved it so far. And yes, you can move the wheels in and out. We have not configured them in the further out because we have some narrow areas we have to get through. But you can reposition those things. So guys, without further ado, the 50-hour service on the Kioti DK6010SE. Very happy with it, very simple. I'll do a quick clip after I get that hydraulic filter out. And like I said, in terms of tools that I needed, it was super simple. I just used one of these run-of-the-mill. It's actually the smaller of the two. It came in two, and I just used the smaller one. I've seen a couple of guys complaining that they had trouble getting the filter off. I almost could do it by hand, but not quite. So this made a huge difference, and then tightening it on, it really helped. And this thing is going to be the same size, so this should work fine. And if it doesn't work fine, then this kit came with two. So I don't know, maybe we'll try to link to that if you don't already have an oil filter tool. All right, guys, that's all you get for tonight. Love this tractor, really good. Comes highly recommended from me. And if you don't already have one, or if you're looking at Deere or Kubota, or if you're looking at New Holland or whatever, don't discount Kioti, because I went to rule it out and I ended up buying the thing because I love the way it drove, and it had by far more power, and it had all the things that I was lacking on the other manufacturers, and it was significantly cheaper. So, and it's not like you're giving anything up. This is a turbocharged 60 horse diesel 3-cylinder. I love it. It's very, very reliable, very simple, and it's got tons of power. So guys, if you're looking, don't forget to check out Kioti. I'm not saying it's the only thing out there, but you know, the competitive tractor I looked at would have cost 20K more than this. 20,000 more if they were cutting me a deal. More like 25 if it was full price, but nobody pays full price unless you're stupid. So anyway, there you go, guys. Check it out. What a beauty. All right, so quick update. That's the filter pulled off. You can see the magnet right there. That's what clears all the debris, the metallic debris. It makes it really weird to pull the filter off. That thing there is the magnet. And as you can see, I've been filling up like this jug here because it would overfill that for sure. And as you can see, I pulled out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gallons, almost 8 gallons, probably a little bit more. And then I've got the new filter here, lubricated the seal, so it'll go on nicely. But just when you're pulling it out, it likes to get caught really bad on the edge because of the magnets. So make sure you take a clean paper towel and plan on this. You have to drain the oil. I don't know what I was thinking I could do it without, but just take a clean towel and get all the debris that you can get off of that. Mine was black when I first did it, and that's the rationale behind replacing just the filter. But to be honest with you, what the heck were they thinking? Why don't they just tell you to replace the oil and be done with it? Because you're gonna have to put all that oil back in there now. Not unless you got 10 gallons of it sitting around. So anyway, there's your quick update. We'll show you when it's all said and done. All right, guys, quick update. The oil filter tool works really nicely on here. I did use both of them on this big filter to break it free. But once I broke it free, even when it was super slick, I was able to use my hand to move it in and out. Because I was draining into here, it was stupid. I should have just pulled the cap and just drained the fluid. It would have been so much easier. So if you guys are doing this on your own, just remember there's a lot of oil in there, and it will take a long time to catch it all. And luckily I had a ton of these 1-gallon jugs, and so when I'm all said and done, I can just reintroduce that if I decide, or if I'm going to replace it. I'm not sure. I haven't decided. But for now, guys, that's what you get. I wanted to also show you just one last time. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 full gallons of oil that was lost. And this was the rag from the magnet. Okay. So make sure that you're prepared to wipe off that magnet. That's quite a bit of stuff. Okay. It was super easy to get rid of that. And this is the strap the strap wrench set. Those are the two sizes, and both of these filters, incidentally, were the same outside dimension. So uses 6.8 quarts for the engine oil, which if you buy 2 gallons, that'll give you 1.7 of the 2 gallons is what you're going to need for 6.8. So you can leave about 3/10, which, measuring from the bottom of the container, it was about 2 and 13/16 of an inch from the bottom of the Kioti 1 gallon container. So it's going to be different if you use your different oil. But as you can see directly from the factory, it's about $95. So compared to the quote for $600 I got to do the oil change and replace the filter back here, I felt like that was a pretty good bargain. Granted, I did have to waste an evening of my time, and I will know for next time to just go ahead and replace the oil. However, I think at the 100 hours, you replace all of the hydraulic oil anyway, and then you replace just the filter on the engine, which is stupid. I would have just done them both at 50 if I would have known. But live and learn. Guys, love this tractor. It's been great. The Kioti DK6010SE. It's a hydrostatic. In this case, you can get it with a power shift sort of model too. And the KL5521 is the loader. Of course, it comes with the skid steer attachment there. Love that thing too. And then I got this adapter plate here, which makes it so that I can use it with John Deere. I think up to 3 series, maybe 4 or 5 series, I'm not sure. That's available from Titan, so we've got links below. All right, guys, come back for more. If you're just thinking about getting this tractor and doing your first maintenance on it, that is really all that's entailed. I think if you take it to the dealer, then they do one additional step, which is to adjust the hydrostatic pedal adjustments, which are down here. And it's really, I would say, I don't really need any adjustments on that I can tell. But there are some end stops and things like this that might want to be adjusted. I think it's mostly a preference thing, though. But anyhow, thanks for watching, guys. This is definitely something you can handle. If you can handle changing the oil on your pickup truck or your car, you can do the tractor probably quite a bit easier, actually. It's just hard knowing where stuff is because it's in a different engine you haven't seen before. So, thanks for watching, guys. Come back for more. Brian Phillips signing out.